percentage minus, usually do the MLS fee or the.
Yeah. So when you're putting the commission into the opportunity in command, and also when you're putting it into the details in the room in DocuSign, it doesn't have to be exact. You're going to change that when you get to the commissions tab. So that's just for you, so that you have a good idea about what your pipeline is looking like.
Okay, so it usually feels like it pulls from there. So I guess when we get to the commission, you'll show us how to do it there.
Yeah, and that'll be next week. We're doing the commissions and
okay,
and all that. Yeah.
Okay.
So for now, you can just put your percentage in there, whatever that is, and you can always you'll change it and narrow it down to the exact penny on your commissions tab. Okay. All right. Okay, so we can see that, so this is a lead-based paint disclosure that I opened up, and we can see that the information I put in before has filled in. Okay. And that's all we need. We just need to do save and close. And we're going to open up the listing agreement, because that's something that you'll want to, you'll definitely want to have in there. Okay. All right. So here it has the seller name and the broker. I'm going to leave these blank because for me, I like to go ahead and print this out once I've got everything filled in as much as I'm comfortable with, to take with me to my listing appointment. If you've already been on your listing appointment and you know all of this already, then feel free, of course, to fill it in. So let's say I've already been to my listing appointment. So I'm just going to fill in the date. It's going to start. And okay, one thing that does not fill in, does not auto-populate on the listing agreement, all of the listing agreement, is the legal description of the property. So for that, you would want to go to your property appraiser. You could go there. Let's pull it up real quick. And the legal description right there. Just go ahead. I highlight it, copy it, and then we'll go back to it. Oops, that's fine. Okay. And then just paste it right in there. And then here, of course, your personal property, whether it's occupied by a tenant, your price. Again, if I was doing this pre-listing appointment, I would leave that blank. Since I'm pretending like I've already been on there, then I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. Okay. Financing terms that the seller is going to accept. Seller finance, you know all these. And you'll note that these are not showing up as being something that you can fill out for anything. And that's correct. That's on the next stage when you go to send it off in an envelope to be signed. We will definitely get to that. And here you can use the check, all these check marks are fillable if they apply. And I say here, compensation, you put in whatever you use. The first part of the compensation is always the total amount that the seller is paying. And then the second is cooperation with other brokers. So that's going to be, oh, why is that showing up? Okay. So I'm just filling in here what I normally do. And I use percentages. Here's where you can fill in those, if it's just a dollar amount, you can put that in there. But see how, even though I put those details in the detail part of the room, it doesn't carry through to this particular form. So that's why we can just put in what you need to on this form. Any additional terms that you might have. Okay, seller signature, and again, we're going to get to that. We'll get to that too. I'm going to return it via email. And as we all know, this has to be filled out, so make sure that you check whichever way you're returning it to the seller. And I'll add this date later on. All right, we're going to save and close. Can you guys see those red marks on there? All right, I'm just reviewing some of the questions.
The red marks are growing.
I know. You can see them.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. Oh gosh. Okay. So Samantha had a question. How do you change the dot loop to DocuSign? Yes. If you have signed up with DocuSign in your settings.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, in fact, I've actually signed up with the DocuSign, but when I first went on to this system, it was on as .loop, and I can't seem to, I don't understand why it was automatically on with .loop.
Okay. I think that usually when you go to add a form, let's see, when you go to start a transaction here, back on command under the opportunity, when you start the transaction, it should give you a choice if you want to use .loop or DocuSign.
Okay.
I would suggest going to your command and checking your settings. So if you in command, you click on your name and then click on settings and make sure that you are signed up with DocuSign.
Yeah, I'm definitely signed up with DocuSign. It just, it says .loop on the actual, on the actual page thing, which is what I don't understand.
So when you're in an opportunity and then you go to transaction or start a transaction, it only gives you .loop.
And that's what it's done from the beginning. I thought that it was automatically affiliated with KW, which is why I didn't question it. And then everyone was talking about DocuSign. And I said, well, and I was thinking, why does it say .loop?
Huh.
Doesn't matter. I'll speak to someone about it.
Yeah, so we'll have to, get with me later, and if you could, well, I don't know if we can come in, but we can maybe do a screen share together and we can figure out what's going on with that. Okay.
Thank you. Sounds like a plan. Thank you.
All right. So Greg asked about how do you show commission plus or minus the 250, and that you have to add in as a when you go to the envelope, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. Okay. All right. And then the seller's property disclosure, I'm just going to open that up. Make sure it's filled in. Of course, nothing gets filled in by us on this, except we can fill in the address. So. And make sure it is filled in. So first line, second line. Okay. All right. And then all the rest gets done by the seller, as you know. All right, that's the 5-page one, so I don't really want that one anyway. How cool is that, that we got 4 pages now instead of the 5-page? Okay. All right, and the water fraud. Make sure your brokerage name shows up on the top there. And the seller name is going to print. I'm going to save and close. Okay, now we're ready to go ahead and send out these documents to be signed by the seller. So we're going to choose them. You just hover over one of the documents and click the top left corner of that. Do the same here. I'm going to do this one. Actually, I'm not going to do that one. And the what date, please. I didn't click the right place. Bear with me. Yeah. Okay. Okay, once you have your documents all filled out, ready to go, we're going to click the little pen, DocuSign. This creates an envelope to be emailed. You're going to name your envelope. This envelope name at the top is just for you, because as you know, we are always sending new documents out to be signed all the time. So it's very helpful for you to name this. You don't have to put the address in there because you're already in the room that has that address. So you don't have to worry about that. I'm going to name this listing doc. And then say we get an offer in, and I'll send out a new envelope with offer 1 and maybe the last name of the buyer, something like that. That's just for you to know which envelope has which document in it. All right, this is a very important step when you're using forms. We pulled in DocuSign forms, they're all blue. You want to always add recipients as pre-tagged roles. You're going to choose your whoever you need to sign. So right now we're working on listing documents. I'm going to choose seller. And this listing sales associate. And we don't need to have the broker, so we're just going to add those 2. When you are signing something, I always recommend that you're going to sign first. That way you can always fill out whatever needs to be filled out in there before your seller gets it. So you can see here, the listing associate is, so we're both signing over here as one at the same time. So I want to change the seller to number 2. So then that way I can get all my stuff done and sign everything and then send it over to them. All right, so down here at the bottom is the DocuSign. This is the email subject that your customer is going to see. So just please DocuSign open documents. Oops. Nice. There we go. And I always just put a little note. Sign. know if you have questions or whatever you put in there. All right, and we're going to do just up here at the top, the big yellow button. We're going to go next. DocuSign fixed it, so we no longer have to click that button twice like we used to. Cool. Okay. So now here we have our fields to initial, click, sign. So if you should have had a discussion with your seller about if they have if they know about lead-based paint or if they have no knowledge of anything, and you can go ahead and we can actually change those, but they will they'll know which one to click, and they can only click one. So on this particular form, that's one reason I wanted to do this one for you. DocuSign set it up so that the listing agent is signing on the selling side, the selling agent side. So we just have to make sure that we move that over to the listing side and move over your date signed. They also forgot to put in up here on item F where the listing agent is to initial. So we need to make sure to remember to add that. And I wish I could do that for you guys, but it's just the way it is right now. You have to remember to put that in there. All right, so a couple of things on the signing page is, because I'm listed on the listing agent, I'm yellow, I show up first. I'm doing the signing first. I'm also the seller, so that's kind of confusing, sorry about that. So this is the seller, it's a different color, so it's very clear who's doing what. If, for instance, though, there was something on here that you needed to sign that was assigned to the seller, you could click on it, highlight it, and then come over here to the right-hand side and change the recipient. So see how it changed the color. And then now that would go to the listing agent, the one that's yellow. But of course, we know that in this particular case, that needs to be the seller. So we'll change it back. I just wanted to show you that. Okay. And then we're going to go down here to the listing agreement. Everything that we put in there before is still there, of course. And here is where, so see the initials show up, the seller initials, and then the sales associate initial. I usually don't have my seller do anything with this, so I click on this to remove it. And when you click on it, these choices show up over here on the right-hand side. You can just delete that field if you don't need it. Here is where you could put, if you wanted to, I'm going to go back to the listing agent part. So here's where you could put in your commission percentage minus an amount. So you would come over here to the left-hand side, make sure you're on you, click on the text box. Oh, you don't want to do it there. You probably want to do it here. You can make it smaller. And here you could just type in whatever it's going to be. It's really big. So over here, back over here on the right-hand side, you can click on formatting and make it very small. There we go. You could also not put the percentage in there when you're filling out the form, and just put the whole thing in there at this stage, so that it doesn't look weird. And then you would do that with all over. Okay. Just gonna questions? All right. And then over here, you know, we don't have to have the seller sign that if they don't want to. And we didn't put any additional terms. So here's just the signature, date, sign, sign. We want to make sure that we put in if we didn't have a date in before when we were filling out the information, we want to go ahead and put the date signed down here. Right there. And notice it's really small because I still have it on the 7 over here under formatting. All right. And then the wire fraud prevention, self-explanatory. Now, once you see, you make sure, go back through, make sure everything's filled out the way you want it, and then you can just send. Okay. That's going to go away shortly. There we go. Now you could go check your email because there's stuff on there for you to sign. However, if you just wait right here for a second, you can come right here to your envelope that says listing docs. You see it's the blue one, says need my signature. You just click on it and then click that you want to sign it. It might come up if this is your first time using it where you're going to choose which style handwriting you want to use. Kind of cool. I've already done that, so I'm just going to click continue and then start. This is really cool because this kind of gives you an idea of what your customers are going to see. And then I'm just going to, you actually have to click on there. See, that showed up there. It's already filled in, so I just clicked on it. And I can do next. And down here, here, sign, and initial. And that's it. And then you just click finish. Now it goes to the seller to sign. All right. Do we have any questions at this point?
Yeah, I have a question.
What's up, Chuck?
Isn't it better to do an envelope for each form so that you can control each form along the way rather than lump them all together? Because when they come back to you, do they come back in separate forms that you can just dump them?
They were separate forms. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, they stay separate. In fact, I'm going to go look back here. We go look at the documents. Let's see. Yeah, they're sent out for signature, so they're not going to. When they do get signed, they're going to show up. Like, see how this one says green and it's signed. Okay. So that's how those are going to show up. And I can open this one up. I did this one earlier in January. You can see where it's been signed right here and filled out. All the X's. That's why I did this one, because we were having questions about whether the sellers can actually put X's up there, and yes, they can. So don't let them try and tell you they can't do that. All right. So that's that. If you should perchance have a change that you need to make, I'll tell you what, let me do this real quick. Oh gosh, I'm not gonna do that. No, I'm fine. If you need to make a change, let's say, so here's a signed document already that I need to make a change on. DocuSign saves a blank form, and it also saves a signed form. So anytime you need to make a change, you just go back to your form, the blue one, and you can make whatever change you need to make on there. if you try to make a change on the signed document, it won't let you make a change on there. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so let's say that we got, let's say I need to add another document to this listing folder that's going to be the exclusion. So I'm going to add a DocuSign form. Nope, sorry about that. On the exclusion, we need to make a new envelope for that. I should have added it before on the listing doc. So we're going to say, we're just going to name it exclusion. And this is the only place where you can add a template, is at the envelope stage. So we're going to use a template. We're going to go to shared with me. And this is where we get our broker pre-signed documents. I'm just going to search. Okay. I'm going to search for us. You can choose either one, the office exclusive, which means you're not going to enter it into the MLS, or the authorization to temporarily exclude it from the MLS. I'm just going to choose this one. No entry, edit. Add recipient, 3 tag roles, listing agent, seller 1. And again, I'm going to make myself sign first and the seller sign second, just in case there's information I need to put in there first. Okay. Next. So here's property address where we have to put all that in there. Okay. Listing agreement beginning date. Please make sure that you fill all of these areas out. We're running short on time, so I'm going to run through here real quick. This is where the owner's initial, and then you sign, they sign. Make sure you put in your MLS ID, and then our office, Gulf Beaches, is, well, go. That one. So yeah, just make sure you fill out all of these, and we're gonna send. Okay, we can go through and sign it, but in the interest of saving a little time, we're going to pretend like we got an offer on this property. So I'm going to, and it was emailed to me from another agent, and here it is, the offer. So I'm going to open this up. I can either download what I wanted to have happen. Oh, sorry guys. Here we go. Here's the offer. Okay, I'm confused. Okay, you can either download and then upload it into DocuSign, or you can forward it to your DocuSign email address, and it'll go right straight in there. So I know what mine is. I sent them there before, so we're just going to forward that. They act the same way, whether you send it that way or whether you send it, add it as a PDF. So if you were to download that offer, Then you're going to come back to your room, click add, and choose computer. Otherwise, by forwarding it like that, you can go to your inbox. It's not showing up yet. All right, so we're just going to go back to the room and add it through PDF. Okay, how do you find your DocuSign email address? When you're in DocuSign on your dashboard, you just click your name right at the top right-hand side and manage profile, I believe. Let's just double check here. Bear with me a sec, guys. Preferences, I believe that's where it is. So click on your picture or your name, use preferences, and inbox details, I believe. There we go. So here is where you can make whatever you want, your inbound email, right straight into DocuSign, and it's always going to be at mail.docusign.net. I have it written down right in front of me down here at the bottom of my computer, so I always know what it is. And as you can see, because I've done it so much, it shows up when I go to forward an email. Okay. Make sure you save after you do that. And we can see up here, I have a little red dot by my inbox, so we know that that's in there. Okay. And here it is. So what I want to do with this, it's hanging out in my inbox, I need to get it to that room. So I'm going to select it over here and then move it. The destination is going to go to an active room. And it's going to go to this listing right here. And then all right, we're going to go back to the room. Click on it. Go to Documents. And we can see right here is where the contract came in. Now notice that anytime you do that, whether you add it from a computer or whether you add it through your email inbox, it's always going to show up as a PDF. On a PDF, when we click on it to open it to look at it, that's all we can do with the PDF at this stage, under the document stage. We can only make changes when we put it through to an envelope. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close it here. Actually, I think right once I have it open like this and I'm reviewing it, maybe reviewing it with my seller, I'm going to go ahead and let's say the seller likes everything about it, so I'm going to go ahead and send it to DocuSign. And I know for this purpose it's a different address. I just want to get an offer in here to show you. All right. So this is offer. Remember, envelope name is just for you, so you know what's in there. Offer 1. And still, at this point, you still can't make any changes on it. You can only click on it to view it. Add recipients to the envelope. The only way, notice that the pre-tagged roles does not show up because you're not using a form. You're using like a flat PDF. So you want to use room participants. And you're going to need yourself in there and the seller. Now, you may not have anything in there to sign as the listing agent, but you want to make sure that if there's anything you need to add on there, that you can. And the only way to do that is to choose yourself as a recipient. And again, make sure that you are number 1 and the seller is number 2. That's the signing order. DocuSign offer. All right. I know. Next. Okay. So here we are. Here so as a listing agent, I'm showing up as my standard yellow, and then the next person that's going to sign is blue. Let's say that I needed to add in here a text field because we want the washer and dryer to go with it. So let's just say washer and dryer. I don't remember it being that big all the time. Okay. Let's just add that. And then since we added something onto an offer, we know we also need to get an initial right there. Okay. Make sure it's the seller, not me. Okay. Because this is a PDF, we are going to need to add the seller's initials at the bottom of each one. And I'm going to show you an easier way to do it. So we're going to start right here. Make sure it's lined up, the lines are lined up together. While it's highlighted like that, you're going to copy. So Control-C to copy. And then you're going to go down to the next spot. And all you have to do is click Control-V to paste, and it puts it right on the same spot. You don't even have to tell it. So that, and just make sure that you get 12 of them, because it's 12 pages. Every time I'm finished with one of these, I just scroll back up through and make sure that I count 12 of them. And then go to the last page and make sure that you get your signature for the seller and the date signed. Okay. And I know I didn't put all the seller's initials because we're running out of time. I wanted to get that in there. And then the next step after that is to send. Now it's going to send it to you because you added something, but all you have to do is say, do the signing part and then just click on there and then finish. That's all you have to do. I'm not going to send this one out. Okay. Questions? You guys can unmute yourself if you like.
I'm good.
Good?
Yeah, that was great. I picked up a few things, so thank you.
Yay, good.
Hey, Renee.
Yes.
Yes. How would you, if you have a seller that you're working with that is not working electronically, how would you get a pre-signed document from the broker? For instance, the status change form. How would we go in and get that?
Yeah. So that is that's on our Facebook page. You can just download it.
I
Print
looked
it out.
at the page yesterday. I didn't see it there. Perhaps it was
Under File.
Yeah, I looked under Files. Yeah.
Okay.
How would you get it from here?
From
From
here.
DocuSign.
Excellent question. Let me try something. Let me just try. So, let me move you guys over. I'm going to try this. I don't know if it's going to work. I'm going to switch to e-signature.
Yeah.
think this is where it is. Yep, templates right here at the top.
The e-signature templates. Okay.
So yeah, you're going to click on your name. You're going to switch to e-signature
Got
because
it.
our default account is called a rooms account. So we need to switch to e-signature, go to template, and then go over here to the left-hand side and do shared with me. Click on that.
All right.
And it should show up. I hope. There they go. All right. So yeah, we got the COVID form. Oh no, that's Ann Arbor. St. Pete Beach. Make sure we click the right one. There we go. Office exclusive, no entry. So I think you can either click use it or download. And there we go.
So click on profile.
Click on profile, switch to signature or e-sign.
Mm-hmm. E-sign.
And yep.
Okay.
And then templates,
Yes.
shared with me.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then you can download it, print it, whatever you need to do from there. Just make sure, like I almost clicked on this Ann Arbor one. I don't know why that's showing up in our stuff. It is. And then make sure that once you download it,
Mm-hmm.
click on your name or your picture again and switch back to rooms. So that you're not trying to find your room when you're not in the rooms.
That's correct.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Cool. Anybody else? Okay. All right. And I'm always here, you guys, if you have any questions, just, I don't know why that's doing that. You know how to contact me. Let me know if you need any help with anything. You know, I'm here to help. Okay. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Renee.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.